Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to do a video of my favorite books. One of my viewers requested that I do this, and it's taken me a long time to get it done because I started compiling a list of my favorite books, and I quickly realized that there was no way that I could cover all of my favorite books in one video. But I did compile a list, and so I'm here to attempt to do that today. I won't be talking about the Harry Potter books or the Lord of the Rings books because so many people have already read those or already familiar with them. So I would like to show some possibly more obscure books, some books that you may not be aware of, and that younger readers may certainly not be aware of. This video was requested by Kayla. So Kayla, this is for you. And the first book I would like to start with is The Little White Horse by Elizabeth Goudge. It would help if I turn it right side up. This book, I read this book when I was a little girl. I got it from the library, and to this day it remains one of my all-time favorite books. The Little White Horse is about a little girl by the name of Maria Merriweather. She's 13 years old at the time that the book starts. Maria has been orphaned and she is going to live with her cousin at Moonacre Manor. She's traveling to Moonacre Manor with her governess, Miss Heliotrope, and her disagreeable little dog, Wiggins. Maria is a very brave and resourceful little girl, and she settles in quickly at Moonacre. She has a delightful little room at the top of the turret because Moonacre Manor is a castle. And Maria's room is decorated with everything that a little girl's heart could desire. The door to her room is only tall enough to admit someone her size. It is made of a beautiful silvery colored wood and has a little silver horseshoe door knocker. Maria soon discovers that there are mysteries abounding at Moonacre Manor, and she discovers that she is responsible not only for Moonacre Manor, but for the inhabitants of the Valley of Moonacre. She is the heir to Moonacre. And she finds out that there are all kinds of delightful, mysterious characters that inhabit Moonacre Manor and also that live in the Valley of Moonacre. And the book is just filled with beautiful descriptions. Every page is absolutely filled with beautiful descriptions of the manor itself and of the people that Maria meets. And she makes friends quickly, and as she goes about her explorations of the Valley of Moonacre. As part of her growing responsibility to be the one who cares for the Valley of Moonacre, she discovers that there is a particular problem that needs to be dealt with, which I won't divulge because you just need to read the book and find out for yourself. But she's helped in her quest by a friend that she meets in the village, and also by the great dog Rolf and her little dapple pony Periwinkle. And there is also a mysterious silvery little white horse that has a horn growing from the center of its forehead, and that is where the book gets its name, The Little White Horse. And I can't impress upon you enough how delightful this book is, how fairy tale like it is. And so I encourage all of you to read The Little White Horse by Elizabeth Goudge. Incidentally, on the front of the book it says, I absolutely adored The Little White Horse. And this was J.K. Rowling who said this. And the next book is The Blue Sword by Robin McKinley. This is the book of a young woman who also became orphaned, and her name is Harry. That is her nickname. She prefers to be called Harry. and she travels to a faraway land because the only living relative that she has left is her brother Richard, who is in the military at the General Mundy Fort. And Harry is living with a man and his wife who are kind of like political leaders. The man is like I don't remember his exact title, but he is a political leader of this land, and Harry goes to live with them because they have no children, and they're delighted to welcome her into their home. But anyway, the story is about how Harry discovers her collar, or her magic, and how it relates to the people of the Mountain Kingdom of Damar. And it is a love story and a story of great friendship. The people of Damar and the people of the lowlands, where Harry first goes to live, they are facing a very serious threat from an army of aggression from the Northern Territories. And the king of Damar, Corlath, comes to meet with the lowlanders in hopes of forming an alliance. Well, the meeting doesn't go well, but before Corlath leaves, he sees Harry, and he has very strong collar, very strong magic, and there's something about his collar that tells him that Harry is going to play a big part in this coming fear and threat that they all face. And he comes back that next night and he kidnaps Harry. Now, what I really admire about Harry is her fortitude and her bravery and her entire attitude about everything that she faces and all these circumstances that she becomes inadvertently involved in. She becomes very great in the kingdom of Damar. It's a almost prophetic, almost biblical type story. Harry becomes Haramidsol, which is the Damarian name for a lady hero. And she becomes one of the king's riders. She becomes one of his warriors. And the story is all about her journey to that point and how she helps defeat the Northern Army of Aggression. And I was just blown away by all the wonderful things that Harry's magic enables her to do. And there is a growing love story between her and Corlath that just was incredibly heartwarming, and just the entire book is just incredibly special. People are always asking the question, if your house burned down and you had to save one book in your house, what book would you save? This would be the one I would save. This book is very dear to me. It's a book that I come back to and reread many, many times when I need to escape the real world. I just can't say enough good things about it. There is also a second book in the Damarian series, The Hero and the Crown. And even though it is also about the kingdom of Damar, The Hero and the Crown features events that actually take place before the events in the Blue Sword. You can read the books in any order, but to me it made more sense to read the Blue Sword first, because there are lots of references in the Blue Sword to events and people from The Hero and the Crown, and so that made me feel like I already knew the people in The Hero and the Crown and knew a lot about them by the time I got around to reading it. Both outstandingly good books. And the next book is The Mummy Case by Elizabeth Peters. Now, Elizabeth Peters is the pen name for Barbara Mertz, but she has written a whole series of these Amelia Peabody books under the name Elizabeth Peters. Barbara Mertz passed away a couple of years ago, and I'm very sad about that because I dearly, dearly love the Amelia Peabody series of books. The mummy case was my favorite one of all of them, and there are quite a few, because it was so funny. I literally laughed out loud throughout this book. Amelia Peabody is married to Emerson, who is, in her words, the greatest archaeologist, the greatest Egyptologist of this or any age. And the stories are all about their adventures while they are excavating in Egypt. And Amelia is drawn to mysteries. She's drawn to solving crimes. And so there are lots of dead bodies and mummies and master criminals and just all kinds of excitement going on in these books. And Emerson and Amelia eventually have a son that they nickname Ramses, and he is always getting into lots of trouble. And so these books are just absolutely thoroughly delightful. I actually learned most of what I know about Egypt through these books, because Barbara Mertz was a trained Egyptologist. She studied at the Oriental Institute in Chicago and has actually done transcribing work. She spent several seasons transcribing hieroglyphs at the Medinet Habu temple in Luxor. So she knows what she's talking about when she wrote these books. Let's change up the topic a little bit and talk about Love Saves the Day by Gwen Cooper. And this is a book that is told from the viewpoint of Prudence the cat. Normally, I don't like books or movies that are told from an animal's viewpoint, because they tend to have a lot of drama and sadness and tragedy happen. And the same is true to a certain extent in Love Saves the Day. But I just love this little book. It's about Prudence, who is rescued off the street by a woman named Sarah. Sarah is a senior citizen, and she lives alone, and she takes in little Prudence and loves her very, very much. And then one day, Sarah doesn't come home, and Prudence is taken from their apartment by Laura, who was Sarah's daughter. Laura is a up-and-coming, very high-pressure corporate lawyer, and she doesn't really have time in her life for a little cat. But Love Saves the Day is the story of how Prudence finds a place in Laura's household, and how she grows to be loved and cherished by Laura and her husband. And it's just a delightful story for anyone who loves animals, especially cats. This is another book that I would want to rescue if I could only rescue a couple of books. I dearly, dearly love this story because I love cats. I love cats. And that leaves us with Seven Eves by Neal Stephenson. And this is, I'm really changing up now. I've gone from fantasy books to historical fiction to animal stories to science fiction. But I really highly recommend this book. It's a hefty book. It takes a while to finish. Seven Eves is the story about the people of Earth when I think it was a meteorite or comet was threatening to strike Earth, and the Civil Defense Forces of Earth attempt to break up the approaching object and succeed only in breaking it into smaller pieces, which still enter Earth's atmosphere, which of course creates massive firestorms, great heat. Basically, it's the end of life on Earth. And a select small group of people are handpicked, selected to go to live on a hastily constructed space station to save some remnant of the human race. And Seven Eves focuses on these people particularly the 7 women involved, although there are, of course, men involved in the story as well. The book also tells us about the people who get left on Earth either because they weren't selected or by their own choice, and what they face in the final days. I wish Mr. Stephenson would write a sequel to let us know how these people managed to renew their lives on Earth and start over again. It's a very, very good book. It touches all the feels. You know, you feel the fear and the terror and uh, of the people that are left on Earth, and then of course the very great responsibility of the ones who have been selected to go to the space station and are expected to eventually repopulate the Earth. A wonderful book, a marvelous book for anyone who enjoys science fiction. So I hope you all enjoyed this video of some of my favorite books. I made this video specifically for you, Kayla, because you requested that I make a video of some of my favorite books, and I hope to make another video soon with the rest of my favorite books. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great afternoon.